Merthyr Law has been a part of for the last couple of years now is this online questionnaire. So I know, there's a lot involved in your initial meeting typically, which is a lot of fact finding of, details of the relationship and of the assets and liabilities and of the businesses and stuff. So, that's a lot of kind of, I guess, data collection in that first meeting that you do, and then expensive lawyer rates to kind of reproduce that data into spreadsheets and into correspondence, etc. Whereas now the clients have got that ability in their own time. They can via our website answer a lot of those questions and do a lot of that fact finding beforehand. So then if they meet with you, you're armed with this really, really well presented information that you might have a few more questions over a few points of it. But I guess that can mean there's a lot of cost savings. I mean, a time savings for that initial meeting, meaning you can get straight into that bit that clients actually want, which is giving that, bringing your family law experience and giving that advice. How have you found that process and how have your clients found it?
That process is extremely valuable. The document that clients are requested to fill out is very thorough. It's very focused on what the Family Law Act requires me to advise clients about. All the questions and the answers to which I require are all set out in that process and that online process, and it's extremely effective and a huge cost saving to the client. So when the client comes in, I have all the information I require. I've already considered what I need to advise the client of, and it certainly is a very time and cost effective manner of dealing with clients. And the clients also feel very empowered too by going through that process. They're seeing what I need, and therefore when I advise them, they understand the process far better. So it's an extremely valuable tool, both for me as the legal advisor and most importantly for the client, because it gives them the satisfaction and the involvement in the matter, which is very important, because as I always say to clients, there's no I in team, it's a joint effort, and I found it a very valuable process.
So let's not just talk about it. I'll share the screen and show how clients can fill that out. And we'll also have a bit of a look at the report, a dummy report that it might generate. So Peter's sharing now our website. And so is stuff about starting your wills online, meeting our team. And we've also got Family Law online, Start Your Will online. So here's one spot you can click it. Also Get Started online up the top. Family Law online, Wills online. So just tick the Family Law function. And this is really, really easy. So, a client can be doing this at night time, out of work hours. They can save it and they can come back to it. And it's just, pretty easy questions. It's been designed as a series of questions to answer that then generates a really tailored report for us. So in this example here, is it as a result of separation or a financial agreement? What services we offer, gives you a bit of guidance along the way. Yes, currently married. I won't go through the whole process here, but you'll see that they're pretty easy steps and options there. What I'll do now is I'll actually have a look at that other end of some of the reports that can generate. And so here's just a bit of a look at the report. And so this is the one that I believe both the client and Merthyr Law gets this report. So this is presuming it's been filled out.
That's the executive summary, and that is, it even gives important information as to what the relationship between the parties is in relation to whether they're amicable or not, and that all, and that gives a lot of insight as well into the requirements I have to know how to advise the client.
Yeah, so look at these details. I'm just having a look here. Got the basic kind of executive summary, how long the relationship's been, you're separated, what the education, the kids, the family tree, what their situation is. Then, you've got more detailed information, bank accounts, asset liabilities, student loans, those kind of things. Now, it gives you a lot of prompts along the way to help you, fill out some of these details. And as you were saying before, Peter, who made what contributions to that relationship?
Yes. Yes. No. Yep. It's very good.
And details and your confidence level in what your, the valuations of those assets might be. There's some questions here about the partner's business, what it looks like, and some basic kind of figures about that. If the client doesn't know any of those points, that's fine. It can just be marked, and they can discuss it further with you in the meeting. And I guess also there's different types of people in this world, Pete. There's the people who like doing homework and being prepared and doing as much information beforehand, and so then they can go into the meeting with confidence and knowing that they're not going to look silly, that they explain what they want to explain, and then even if they do get emotional in the meeting, they've already conveyed all this information to you. Or there's the people who are like, oh, Pete, I don't like doing homework, I'm not good with paperwork, I'm not good with questionnaires, can we just have a chat about it? And can people still do that? Are people allowed to still see you without filling out the questionnaire?
Yes, absolutely. I have my own questionnaire as well, which is in a similar format to the one that's on the Merthyr Law website. But I've got many years' experience, and so I have a list of questions that cover all those points, and I'm always happy to guide the client through it. This document's only been used for the last couple of years. I've been now practicing. I'm into my 40th year. I'm well versed in just getting all the information that I require from the clients in an initial meeting with them.
So Pete, I'll just share another screen. Can you see that in front of you?
Yes.
So this is just a dummy one we did up, obviously not a real client.
No.
But this is the kind of information that using the online questionnaire can produce. Yes. And so it's got detailed lists of assets and liabilities, the level of confidence the client's got in those kind of descriptions. And so then having a look at exactly, how that kind of works, what it looks like. And so, Pete, for you, this document, I mean, you do your first one, but then it can actually be tweaked at our end. And so, we can update those figures. Yes. And then you can play around and, with your conversations with the client and before mediation and that kind of thing, you can go, okay, well, how would this look with the different kind of splits in that range and what that might look like? So, you can do some real-time kind of summaries just by playing around with the percentages of who keeps what and that mix.
And what's important is that when there is a mediation, which is always, even if proceedings are started, it's compulsory before the matter goes anywhere near a trial to have a mediation. And in the mediation, that document you're showing now is in fact reduced to a formal balance sheet, because the first step in any mediation is that we have to be talking about apples and apples. So the parties agree on the asset pool, including liabilities and superannuation and assets, and that's the very format we use for the mediation. So having it at the initial stage of getting instructions provides a very good basis for then building on. For example, there are some comments there about values that not confident or confident. Often then we then determine whether or not valuations are required. And so it's a very good process to start that way, because that, when we go to mediation, that's the actual balance sheet that is used.
Yeah, and Peter, I just brought that one up. That's another document that's produced as part of this online questionnaire process. And
that's the actual balance sheet that is used in the mediation, and that's the form provided by the court. So, and that's the document, because you'll see there it's got Margaret's value and Steve's value. So when you go to mediation, Steve, I would have a solicitor, and we normally would have completed valuations, and so Steve's solicitor puts all of their valuations in there, and if there's still some disagreement, we negotiate that prior to the negotiation or the mediation going into the actual negotiation stage of the percentage of division, who gets the assets and how they share the liabilities, etc. So that, starting at the beginning with that document, is very important, because that's the document we actually use at the mediation. So it's a very time and cost effective way of doing things to start at the beginning by completing that document, which has been very carefully crafted for that exact purpose.
If they have done this certify process, well, it means that that initial meeting, for that time period of an hour or however long you allow that to happen, it means if they've done all of that homework, is you're talking advice rather than data collection. So it's straight into the valuable stuff for the client.
That's a very important point, Kieran, because that's exactly the case. By receiving all that information as thoroughly and clearly as possible, I spend my time giving advice rather than getting facts. And that's far more beneficial to the client. And excuse me, also by the client going through that procedure and filling all that out, they understand the process themselves. Because when I start to explain the law, they say, well, that's all in these documents. That's exactly right. And so it really helps them become involved in the effort to move the matter forward.
And I guess a lot of your clients you see, it's the first time they've actually really needed a lawyer. You know, they might not have been divorced before. They might have, you know, done some conveyances where they don't really speak to the lawyer, but that's pretty scary for the client. So I guess the more that they can get that online help and do a bit of homework beforehand, the more confident they are, I guess, that they're going to have a meaningful meeting with you and be able to actually explain the important stuff to you because they've already done that beforehand. Have you heard that feedback?
That's very astute, Kieran, because that's exactly what happens. The client hasn't seen a lawyer before. If they go through that process, they understand it far better, and there's far more confidence in the communication by the client to me, and then I'm able to better communicate the advice to the client because they understand the process by filling out those forms.